Alrighty, guys. So before the Sleuth crew reviews Dateline's Delphi murders interview, a few things we're going to get into first. The real reason that law enforcement released the Bridge Guy video, why the killer covered the girls with sticks and why it worked. If the Delphi murders were pre-planned, why did they select the high bridge? Exculpatory, you keep using this word. And that's all coming up now. So if you guys haven't seen the Dateline Delphi murders episode, I definitely recommend that you guys go do that now. Right field says intro's long. Nobody's forcing you to watch it. Intro. J Ray, me either. Julia, are you saying be right back? Like you're gonna go? I think she's gonna go watch it. It's been out for about 4 days now. I mean, you're not really going to see anything new, honestly. But I just wanted to give you guys some of my takeaways. What's up, Jeff? Like, geez. Somebody's always got to complain. Hey, it's okay. I recommend going to watch it if you want to. That way you can at least give us your opinion. Because that's what we're going to be doing during today's live stream. I want your opinion about the Dateline's episode on the Delphi murders. I want your opinion on that. Yeah, either way. But before we get into that review, let's talk about this. So why did they release this video? What was the purpose? What do you guys think? When the investigative team decided together as a group, okay, we're going to release this. This is how much we're going to release. These are the portions that we're going to release. What do you think the motivation was for that? What were they hoping to gain? What's going on, Ziggy? This account. Welcome in, Mustang. Good to see you. I watched it on Peacock. Good to see you, Mustang. Mustang says to scare the shit out of Richard Allen. I think it may have. Definitely. So somebody would turn him in, or so he would get nervous and run or front himself off. Well, when they shared it, what were they hoping people would provide? How could this help you? Let's say you're a potential witness, or the wife or family member, friend, neighbor of Richard Allen. How is this going to help you? What are they hoping that you'll recognize? So Ziggy says, hope somebody would identify him. How? Identify with what? It's way too pixelated to identify him by his facial features, or maybe even his body type. So I'm thinking it has to be his attire and his gait, right? That's the only thing you can really glean from this video. And you might be able to agree that it is a white male. But even then, it could be Hispanic, light-skinned person. I believe Richard Allen came out on the 15th, or came forward on the 15th. And these photographs, let alone the video, weren't released until the 15th, which was a Wednesday. So he must have come forward either earlier that day or late in the day on the 14th. And during the Dateline coverage, or their reporting on the case 4 days ago, they talk about how Kathy Allen was the one that encouraged Richard Allen to come forward. Said, hey, I was watching the news. Check it out. They found these girls that were murdered out there. You were there. You know, you need to come forward and tell them what you've seen. So that's the story told on the Dateline episode. All right. What'd you think, Ziggy? So, I mean, you can't make out any of his facial features. So they're definitely, they're hoping that you're going to recognize the way the person is moving and by the clothing that they're wearing, which created a problem because the first thing that we heard coming out of Delphi is, hey, everybody dresses like that. And I could see that. I dress like that. If I was to put on some jeans, they would bunch up just like that. And they tried to make this clear when they released it. They only wanted help on the guy's walk, his gait. They said, stop looking at this guy. I just want you to look at the way he's moving. That last little hard step on the left foot is interesting to me. J. Ray, his walk, bad actors. Hey, whichever order you prefer. Bad actor says long torso. There you go, Gail. The mannerisms. What's up, Timmy? Well, I don't know. Somebody could, I just don't know if you could recognize them. I think you would have to really know their movement. Like as a coworker, I don't know. But as a wife or a daughter or whatever, best friend maybe, mother. Right field. Midwestern dress code. I don't know what you mean. You have to be more specific about my stance. Mustang, I think the young bridge guy pick was a tactic. I think it was Richard Allen. Anthony says, well, how can you judge his gait when he's walking on a bridge that's falling apart and scary as hell? Well, one thing I've noticed about this guy here, if it's so scary, why does he have his hands in his pockets? He's not scared out there. I think one of the reasons he did what he did or even selected that area was because he's not scared up there. If anything, he excels. J. Ray, Midwestern white male over 40 uniform. Absolutely. No more, they don't care about style. They're not following fads or, keeping up to date with any of that shit. It's just give me my comfy jeans. Where are my good boots? Let's go with the hoodie. And then if it gets really cold, I'll have a backup jacket. And then, like a hat or something. This account says, example, you see your neighbor outside and he speaks to you. You go on about your day. You see him pull in and out. It is also ruling out he walks the bridge the day and time of. I don't know. What if you've gone to the trails before with this guy, and this is kind of how he walks on that bridge? I'd be curious to know if Kathy Allen ever went to the trails with Richard Allen and witnessed him walk on that bridge. Ziggy says, well, as bad as the photo is, I think if it was my husband, I would be able to point him out. This account mannerisms. Exactly. Like he knows this bridge. He's been on this bridge so many times, he can walk it with his hands in his pockets. And not only that, but quickly. Remember, they take a photo around 2:05, and by 2:15, he's all the way across the bridge, coming right at him. Hands in his pockets, still probably moving with purpose, like the witnesses said earlier on. Mustang, that's funny. I remember those days. Rescue all the dogs. What's up? Good to see you. He does look over bundled for a fair day. So maybe that's why they can't recognize him. Like that kind of looks like Richard Allen, but he's kind of skinny right now. You know, this guy looks kind of bulked up. But when you have something wrapped around your neck, which is probably right his face covering, a hoodie, that hood up, maybe some kind of head covering, and then you got the blue jacket over everything. You know, that's going to kind of bulk you up a little bit. Because if you go to Kathy Allen's Facebook photos of Richard Allen in December of 2016, shortly before the murders, he was very skinny. In 2018, he's like, he must be off the booze or something because he's definitely has some body weight to him. He looks a little bit stockier. He looks about 40 pounds heavier. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, that's true, Richard. The defense tried to stay away from that, and the prosecution really didn't hammer it home. I mean, they did a good job. Obviously, they were successful. But I think that's the most important part behind their entire timeline, right? Like, yeah, the girls and the witnesses can't point out Richard Allen and say, hey, that's him. But they can point at Libby's video and say, hey, that's him. And they're all pointing right at him, like, hey, the guy we saw or the guy I saw, same guy. Close and Gait. That's all they cared about. So why couldn't this be Ron Logan? I mean, to me, he's obviously too short. I know a little bit about camera angles. You can kind of see what's going on with the angle of this video. So you have somebody that looks short and is at an angle that's supposed to make you appear tall. So that to me tells me he's very short. Yep, he's had his liquid courage. He's nice and loose, limber, and he's made the decision that he's going to do it. But why? Like, why there? The same reason that he appears to be so comfortable. If this was pre-planned, you know, that's the reason why he picked this area, for the same reason. He's walked that bridge a million times. He's gone down that hill dozens of times. He knows exactly. He's played it out in his head. You know what I mean? What's up, Anna? All right. So I made a video a while ago comparing the bridge guy to Ron Logan. Then also I did a video of Richard Allen versus the bridge guy. And we'll take a look at the Ron Logan one first.
Down the hill. 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 Down the hill.
Richard says, them letting defense say late in the program that girls' descriptions didn't match when they knew all eyewitnesses said the man they saw was the man in the video did not set well with me. Again, defense biased. Yeah, and that's, that's everything. Yep, I agree with that, Anna. Okay, now just picture Ron Logan. In the video on the right, you can kind of see him with his hand in his pocket, right? Very similar to the bridge guy. So what if he put a gun in that pocket and pointed it upward? Would it make him look more like the bridge guy? Or is the gait just completely different? The body types are just completely different, and it's just absolutely not him. Welcome in, Deanna. Richard Allen came forward according to Dateline after encouraged by his wife. Yeah, I found that very interesting. And we kind of ran that scenario. It was speculation, of course, when we said it, but I mean, that's the only thing that made sense to us, right? So think about it. Even before we had any clue about what played out, we were speculating that it was Richard Allen sitting in his living room watching television with his wife. You guys have heard me say that on many live streams. So it sounds like that might be true, right? Like just like every household in Delphi, they're watching the news about these missing girls, how they were found murdered the following morning. And it just makes sense, right? Kathy's like, "Oh my God. Hey Ricky, look at this. You were out there, remember? You were out there like around 12, weren't you? From 12 to 1:30? They're asking anybody that was out there to come forward." So it looks like that's exactly what happened. And he can't just be like, "Oh no, I can't come forward." So he's not a man that's like, "Hey babe, I was out there. I need to come forward." If he had his way, he would never come forward. But because people knew that he was there and around what time he was there, he had no choice. He had to come forward. But now it's control. It's like a controlled burn. I can meet with law enforcement, but please not at my house. And I definitely am not going to that police station because I feel like I might not ever leave. Right? That's why he can't go to the police station. Because if I go in there, I have this weird feeling that I'll never leave. So what do you guys think about that gate? Yep, rescue, absolutely. And the question is, what's motivating you? Like, you have a wife, you have a daughter, you have your whole life ahead of you. What the hell is motivating you to go do something like that? Good to see you, Anna. His daughter's senior portraits were taken on the bridge. I know. Did you hear that part during the Delphi episode? They were interviewing somebody. I think it was, it might have been Libby's cousin. But she said, "Oh, my friend went and got her senior pictures taken on the bridge." And I was like, "Your friend?" Like, I wonder if that's Richard Allen's daughter. Like, imagine. They seem like they might be the same age. But then again, a lot of people, from what I've gathered, took their senior photos there. So it's somewhat common, I guess. Hey, Cyberwar, he's walked that bridge for a number of years, I think. Yeah, never heard of Ron Logan ever going on the bridge. Yep, that's a telltale sign of a shorty Mustang. Yep, when you get to a certain age, Anna, it's more about comfort than it is about style, for sure. Yep, absolutely, Richard. And you can tell, just by the angles that you see in the video. All right, now let's take a look at Richard Allen versus the Bridge Guys Gait. Tell me what you think about that. Ron Logan was 6 feet. People think he's taller, but he was only about 6 feet, 6 feet even, give or take. You want to talk about a perfect match? Richard Allen and the Bridge Guys, the way they walk is identical. Even to the point where he kind of whips out his left foot right before he puts his foot down. That's very unique. I didn't see that in the Ron Logan video. He kind of walked with his feet kind of straight. Then again, he's on the bridge, he's crossing the tiles, you don't know. What's up, Jert? Welcome in. Welcome in, Jackie. Jackie says Logan's legs are heavier to me. Well, keep in mind, the bridge guy is just a small little figure in the back of a video, so it could be extremely distorted. Maybe Ron Logan put on some throwaway tennies. I mean, you can't be 100% sure that those are boots. Welcome in. It's just me. Blind Squirrel, what's up? Every time I watch the video of Richard Allen doing the river dance in the pool hall, I immediately think yeah, because it's that energy. It's that weird energy, you know? I feel like that's the same energy that he had out there that day. Like it makes you feel antsy. The Hank Hill. Lynn says Ron was afraid of the bridge. I've never heard Ron Logan say that before ever. And even if he did, doesn't mean he's telling the truth, right? But still, I've never heard anybody say, yeah, Ron used to walk across that bridge all the time. Ron would hike over to the bridge all the time. It sounds like he never went over there. Whenever he talks about it, he's like, the bridge is way the F over there. It would take I don't know how they got back there. It seems impossible. And the reason it all seems impossible is only because of that creek. If that creek wasn't there, it's like a stone's throw. That could be a good reason for the killer to select the creek. Like, hey, if we cross the creek, I'm going to throw him off. You know, maybe even in his mind, he's thinking like they can't track me or something. Tracking dogs or, who knows what he's thinking. But he's definitely using the creek. He crossed the creek, right? He forced the girls across the creek. Mustang says Ron's feet are bigger too. That's another thing we didn't hear a whole lot about during trial. What about, footprints? Were there any little feet footprints scattered around there? We know it was muddy as hell. There was mud everywhere. The killer was muddy and bloody, and the girls had mud all over them. Bad actresses, nope, the build is different. And I'm behind on the chat, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, welcome in. Says Ron Logan looks much bigger. What about the walk? Did you guys pay attention to the walk? I think the size could be greatly distorted. Couldn't cross that bridge. You need somebody that would cross the bridge. Well, we know that Richard Allen isn't afraid of heights. We have photographs of him on Kathy Allen's Facebook on the top of a mountain. And I mean, there's just straight drops all around him. So he's not afraid of heights. And he's definitely not disabled. And this is 1 year after the murders. He's on top of a mountain. I mean, it looks like a 2.5 hour hike to get up there. Welcome in, Christian. I think Ron would have had on boots like the ones in his Gait video. Maybe. He was working all day. He had those boots on all morning. Maybe he wanted to let those puppies breathe. I just got out of the shower, just cleaned up. I'm going to go for a little walk. And then boom, there's the girls right there. Maybe he's been drinking. Welcome in, Kay. Secret Life, welcome in. It seems to apply in the case of his wife asking him about coming forward. Yeah, and he's telling her a different story. Like, yeah, I was there 12 to 1:30. But in the back of his mind, if he comes forward, he needs a strategy. If he comes forward and he says, I was there from 12 to 1:30, and the witnesses can identify him as Richard Allen, like he's going to appear guilty right then and there and become a suspect. But if he admits to it, right, to the exact time he was there, from 1:30 to about 3:30, that would account for the reason people were seeing him on the bridge. Now, remember, this is before the bridge guy video was released. In his mind, he's just another guy that's out there. He knows for a fact that nobody's seen him anywhere near the girls. He's just another guy out there. He's worked out all of those details. So when he talks to Dan Doolin, that's all he has to say. Tell him exactly that he doesn't have to change anything, right? It would make total sense because nobody saw the girls there. And that, to me, tells me that he knew when they got there. He was laying in wait. For him to make that decision, he must have known when the girls were dropped off. He knew all about the timeline. He knew how to work around it. That's why he came forward, in my opinion. Jeff says, bridge guy's sloped shoulders sure look like a match to me. I mean, he looks pretty close to what I'm seeing here in the video. Kind of that wobble. It's kind of to the right, and then it's kind of like a wobble. I can't tell what that is, but it's something hanging right here behind his back pocket. I don't know what that is. I think what it is might be his brace. In some of the videos, he's wearing a brace. And I think that's what that might be, unless he already has it on. Can't tell. What's up, Vegas? Yep. It's identical. It's a wobbler. So that's the part that gets me right there. The left leg. Right when you pick it up, he kicks his right out to the left. Right there. The way he walks around with his hand in his pocket, Kathy knows that's him. Yeah, that's a tough one right there. This might be Richard Allen's new mugshot or newest. I feel like I haven't seen this one. I could be wrong. It's up to Lulu. Manis says Ron Logan's girlfriend said something like he was afraid of the bridge, but he had a job as a climber, 50-foot ladders to the top of silos. Yeah, then he definitely wouldn't be afraid of a bridge. I don't know. It's different. If you're on a ladder Like you feel a little bit more secure, I think. But when you're walking and you can see the ground below you, some people freak out over that. It's like vertigo. Thanks, Corby. I appreciate that. It's coming together quite nicely. J. Ray, pardon me, Mr. Hostman, sir. Do you like to be called Sleuth, Patrick, or something else? It doesn't matter. People call me Sleuth. But there's some people who are uncomfortable doing that. I come from kind of like a hip hop culture where you always had a little bit of a nickname constantly, So whatever floats your boat. Okay. Something else I wanted to talk about before we get into the review here. Okay. So the real reason for the bridge guy video. Okay, yes. Why the killer covered the girls with the sticks. And it looks like the majority of you haven't even seen Dateline's Delphi episode. So sorry about that. I waited. Tried to wait. All right. But before we get into this, why do you guys think that Richard Allen put sticks over the bodies? Why would he do such a thing? Delulu, they call him Ricky Bay. If that doesn't make your stomach turn, I don't know what will. That shit's weird. Bad actor says camouflage. Camouflage from who, though? Specifically. My Secret Life. This seems extreme for a first crime. I don't know. Most crimes are caused by certain events that happen in life. Bankruptcies, divorces, something that changed. We learned about Richard Allen and his personality disorder. He had this weird attachment he had this dependent personality disorder, strange attachment to his wife, Kathy. Well, right before the murders, there was a wedge being drawn between those two. And I think that was his trigger. And I also believe if something like this would have happened between him and his wife earlier in the relationship or earlier in the marriage, I think that he could have done something similar. There's always a recipe, is what I like to say. There's a recipe for this disaster. It's our job to kind of find those ingredients. What if you didn't care, Anna? What if you were like, well, I'm going to throw these shoes away anyway? I think it wouldn't matter. But yeah, typically if you were, trying not to mess up your jeans or get too dirty, you're going to wear some snow boots. Hey, Big Bird, good to see you. I think he was going to start a fire, but got scared away. That could explain why the phone was right there. Not enough wood, and he would have already been scared. Remember, he was already kind of getting scared from Brad Weber in the white van. Dun dun dun. Still think the DH Pool Buddy story is huge, and we know the text was sent. I haven't heard anybody talking about it or mentioning it during trial. To me, that story and the cap emblem is damning. Bad actors. I wonder if he started drinking more after that. You mean after the murders? I think he stopped drinking. You know? I think it scared him straight for a little while. Or for good, maybe. But he definitely has no remorse for what he did. And if there were anybody else involved, he's not going to tell us. I don't know, Delulu. It was a good medium. It was a good mix of pros and cons. Okay, well, here's my theory. When you come down the private drive, guys down the hill, the moment you get down that hill, this is your view. And right here, right through these trees across that creek is the crime scene. Just right here. So the girls would be from this distance, just two small dots out in the distance across the creek. Maybe a little more. Maybe something like that. Now, if Richard Allen was just scared away by this white van, he's only going to be concerned about what people can see from the private drive across the creek. So now when he covers them with sticks, notice that everything is on the girl's left side, which would be the side exposed to the private drive. I believe there was even a tree like right here blocking both girls, specifically Libby. So there would be a large tree right here, both girls kind of behind that tree, and then all of these logs and sticks placed on them, shielding them from the private drive. So if you notice here, look at how he placed the sticks. Everything is there to kind of shield that point of view. Everything's heavy on the girls' left sides or on the right side of this photograph here. So that's what he's doing. He's just trying to block the view from this private drive from being able to see the girls. He's placing everything on this side of their body. There's no message there. It goes right along with him being afraid of the white van. Like, oh shit. They can see me from there. There you have it. It's not Odinism. It's going with Richard Allen's theme that I'm afraid. Why I did this, I did it out of fear. I don't care about them, but I definitely care about my wife. who I have a weird attachment personality disorder to, a dependent personality disorder. Can't have her finding out I just sexually assaulted 2 kids the day before Valentine's Day. And all he's thinking is, oh shit, they can see me from over there. Yep, covering his ass. Now think about it. They were probably originally right. See, this is a cliff right here. It's a straight drop, probably about, I don't know, maybe 30 feet. And it gets higher and higher as you go up. So right here, it's probably maybe 20 feet. But there's a trail a little bit further over to the left that you can kind of walk down there. What I think happened, this is my theory, is that Richard Allen, Abby, and Libby were right down here next to this little cliff, just on the other side of this right here. And when the Jeep comes driving by, or excuse me, the van, got the damn red Jeep on my head, on the brain. So when the white van drives by, he can't see what's going on down here because they're kind of hidden. You would have to drive by, be close to the edge, and then look down. But he still panics. Yeah, that's a good point too, Mustang. Or he already. The thing is that the fact that Abby has mud all over her on her clothes, and Libby has some of her clothing in the water, and Richard Allen confessed to being scared by a white van. That tells us that the girls were kind of on this side of the creek at one point. Richard Allen probably forced them to disrobe. White van shows up, scares Richard Allen, and I think Libby took that opportunity to go across the creek. I think that might have been her decision. So she runs across there, picks up as much clothes as she can, might even grab some of the clothing that belonged to Abby. Now, Richard Allen's chasing Libby through here. Catches her somewhere over here. By that time, Abby has put on whatever pair of pants she can find. She's putting on the hoodie. You know, she put on everything that she can probably put on. She may have even been the one to drop Libby's clothing. You know, maybe she picked up everything. But by the time she gets up over here, Richard Allen has already killed her friend. And then he kills her too. Now he's still afraid of the white van, right? He's like, oh shit. So what does he do? He tries to conceal them from that point of view. That's why everything is kind of placed on the right side of Abby and Libby. Just some thoughts. Welcome in, Diane. Let's refrain from talking about other channels. We don't want any of that. Exactly. So he's not trying to hide them. He's already kind of found an indention in the ground where he probably stopped them. That's why the bullet is there. This is where he's chosen to commit this crime, right? He had to move Libby to that spot. So she ran too far. He brings her back to this specific location. That's where he chose to kill Abby. I want you right here where you're hidden, and then I'll just bring Libby over here with you. And then I'm going to block the view so nobody can see you guys here from the private drive. He's not worried about anything other than that because he's just been scared by this van, right? What's up, Harvey? Hands down, I've ever seen with Richard Allen and himself on the bridge. Thank you. Yeah, I was shocked when I did it. I was like, maybe I can compare these. This is the first real clear view of Richard Allen's, the way he moves. And then when I did the comparison, I was just kind of like, my jaw dropped. I was like, wow. Because I did it with Ron Logan, and it just didn't work. But with him, it was just like, oh my goodness. Even the way his body kind of flows, like there's a way that people flow. You kind of dip up and dip back down. There's like a flow to your movement. That matched also. Webs of deceit untangled. Saw something about Richard Allen's lawyer rushing to keep Richard Allen from speaking after the sentencing. It was implied that Richard Allen was going to confess and apologize. They need to let him talk. I did hear something about that, but I wasn't able to confirm it. Yep, that's strut. What's up, Red Sauce? Welcome in. At the gym, but stopping by to hit the Gusta. Have a good one, guys. Thank you. I appreciate that, Red Sauce. Have a good workout. There was that report of a domestic issue at Richard Allen's home, summer 2016. Allegedly, he was hospitalized for alcohol poisoning. I don't know if it was 2016. I've always assumed it was. People that worked with him at CVS, they also mentioned the fact that some of the details and facts they knew about his personal life was that he was hospitalized at one point because of his drinking. So. All right. So I put a quick video together on what's been going on with the Reese stuff. So I think it'll be okay for us to watch that. Then we'll get into some of the things that stood out to me with Dateline's episode. And we'll just open it up to the chat, and we'll open it up for discussion. Richard Allen's defense attorney recently filed an affidavit with the court, specifically an affidavit from James Winters. Let's take a look. Affidavit of James Winters. Comes now, affiant James Winters, and swears and affirms the following. My name is James Winters, and I am 67 years of age. I was a dairy farmer in northern Indiana for 50 years and currently raise Holstein steers. I have never been arrested. I have never been in any criminal trouble. I don't drink or use illegal drugs. I understand that lying in this affidavit would or could result in a charge of perjury since I am swearing that the things I am saying in this affidavit are true. The things I am saying in this affidavit are true. I have no reason to lie and would not lie. In the fall of 2024, my nephew Rei Davis asked that I contact the Carroll County Clerk or Prosecutor's Office to find out if they were receiving letters that Rei had written and addressed to the prosecutor. Rei told me that the reason he was asking me this favor was because he had written several letters to the Carroll County prosecutor about the Delphi murders and was expecting that those letters would prompt the prosecutor and or law enforcement to meet with him to discuss the information contained in those letters. It was my understanding that Rei began writing those letters in the weeks before the man who was accused of the Delphi murders was going to trial in the fall of 2024. I did, in fact, call the Carroll County Prosecutor's Office and did talk to a nice lady. I don't know if she was a clerk or a secretary or something else. I called the prosecutor's office sometime in August, September, or October of 2024. I believe it was closer to October. I told the lady who answered the phone my name and further told her that I was calling on behalf of my nephew, Rei Davis. I then asked if they knew whether Rei's letters had been received. The lady immediately told me that she was aware of Rei Davis's name and indicated that they had received, I believe she said, multiple letters from Rei. The lady further indicated that every letter she had received from Rei Davis, she had passed to the people in charge of the investigation of the Delphi murders. I asked the lady if she would let the investigators know that I called and that Rei wanted to talk to them and he had expected someone would talk to him and that she said that she would relay the message to the investigators. I don't remember the name of the lady who answered the phone. I would not lie to anyone, including my nephew. This is just the truth. This affidavit consists of 3 pages and 20 paragraphs. I did not prepare this document. Rather, it was prepared by Attorney Baldwin because I would not know how to prepare such a document. Mr. Baldwin typed out what I told him. Furthermore, I know that Mr. Baldwin is not my attorney, nor is he Rei's attorney. Everything stated in this document is true, and I am willing to testify in court to these facts if I am asked to do so. All Rei wants is an interview. He doesn't care of the outcome. He just wants to break the rigmarole and his mundane day-to-day schedule. He wants to sit down and do something different. In order to do that, he needs to convince investigators or law enforcement that he has information that could be helpful. He doesn't care whether or not they make a decision or use the information. It's all about convincing them in order to get that interview. Now, nobody's going to believe a word that Rei says. So, what does he do? He thinks by manipulating somebody that he knows who is honest and who has proven that they're a productive member of society, and he's going to use them as a mask to give him the appearance that he may be telling the truth. We get that James Winters is being honest. We get that James Winters is trying to do his best to help Rei. But that doesn't mean that Rei is being honest. And that's the point. That is the point. Doesn't matter what this gentleman is telling the world. The question is Rei being honest? And it's funny because it reminded me of something. It reminded me of something Keegan Klein did when he was arrested. Keegan deceived his own mother into obtaining the contact information of a woman he attended school with. He made the request seem innocent, but his true intentions were different. Once he received the information, he quickly used it to engage in sexually charged conversations with these women. He used who he could on the outside to get what he wanted. And Rei's no different. He's using people that trust him and people that he can easily manipulate to get the things that he wants. And what does he want? All he wants is an interview. He doesn't care if anybody believes him or not. You know, he just wants to do something different that day. That's 2 or 3 hours he gets to go ahead and do something different for once. And notice during that entire affidavit, his the gentleman is basically saying how bad Reese wants that interview. All he wants is an interview. They keep talking about just interview him, because that's all he really wants. Yep. Is harassing people on the outside. You know, that's what he wants. Keegan wants to fulfill his sick sexual desires, right? That's what he wants to do. Reese doesn't want to be bored. You know, he wants to go out there, he wants to sit with these investigators. He wants to act like he has something important to offer. But most importantly, he's not doing what he does every day, day in and day out, day in and day out. He gets to go on a field trip. And if for whatever reason he actually, something ends up being true, or he shakes something loose, shit, maybe he can make a deal where they shave some time off, or he gets to benefit in one way or the other. Okay, another thing that stood out to me during this Dateline episode was this photograph here. Now, it was Anthony Schatz that started communicating with Libby during a sleepover. Well, they kind of were talking about what Libby and Abby were doing, on weekends before the murders took place. And this was a photo that they shared. Anything seem very strange to you guys? Anything stand out? Anything stand out to you guys in this photo at all? Because it sure did for me. Rule number 1, Anna. Never fully undressed. Was the attention mostly on Libby? Did the offender make sure? Yeah, that's what I think happened. It's exactly what happened. What's up, Karen? It is Richard Allen. Karen, let's just let's try to control ourselves when it comes to other content creators. That's not what we do around here. Sometimes to people, any attention is good attention. To me, it looked like Bridge Guy had an ID tag on the front left pocket. Does CVS employees have ID tags? Not that I know of, Sean, but it could be the Carhartt emblem as well. No, it's funny, Cyber Warrior. Sometimes when I'm making thumbnails and I need an image of Keegan Klein or somebody to represent Keegan Klein, that's literally what I do. Is I type in "fat online predator" and it'll generate an image and it looks just like him. And later, bad actors, catch you on the replay. Drop a comment later. You have Tourette's. Okay, well, the one thing that stood out to me in this photograph was the young lady in the back. These girls are all, of course, adults now. Is the young lady in the back. I'm not going to give her full name, but her first name, I believe, is Allie. So she was a good friend of Keegan Klein, or excuse me, a good friend of Libby, while Keegan Klein was catfishing Libby. So Libby is good friends with her and spending a lot of time with her at the very moment that Anthony Schatz is catfishing Libby. Now, the murders happen, and not long after the girls are murdered, Keegan Klein moves to Las Vegas for a couple of years. A year, almost 2 years. Well, when he comes back, this is the girl that he seeks out. He seeks out Allie, Libby's friend, while he was catfishing her and while she was murdered. So he's fully aware of who she is. She claims that she doesn't know who he is. That's what she told Murder Sheet. We're going to look at some bits and pieces of their interview with Allie, which was a great interview. So think about how sick Keegan Klein must be. And it also kind of tells you that, yeah, he might be involved in this crime. Why would he seek her out? Why is he seeking out Allie to date her, knowing her connection to Libby? Doesn't that seem pretty twisted?
Did Keegan ever?
Okay, now we're going to listen to a few little snippets from the Murder Sheet's interview. This is a 2023 interview between the Murder Sheet and Keegan Klein's former girlfriend, Allie. The same girl that's in that photograph that was aired just 4 days ago on Dateline.
Did Keegan ever talk to you about the Delphi case?
I can remember one time he was just saying how terrible it is and then said something like, "Isn't it crazy how that guy could be walking around and no one would ever know it's him?"
Isn't that a crazy thing to say? Like, that's exactly what Richard Allen was doing.
Did Keegan ever talk?
Terrible it is, and then said something, "See how that guy could be walking around and no one."
So I thought that was crazy that he said that to her. So while he's catfishing Libby, communicating with her the day up until the day of the murder, all night the night before, and then as soon as he gets back from Vegas, he starts dating Libby's friend. That's some twisted shit.
Do you happen to know anything about where Keegan Klein was on February 13th, 2017?
I didn't know him at that time.
Okay, so she's saying that she didn't know him at that time. But the truth is, Keegan Klein knew her older siblings, went to school with them. But there was no reason for her to know him. They're not anywhere near the same age. Welcome in, Peggy.
Do you think Keegan could be linked to the Delphi murders?
Definitely. You can't tell me that he was texting one of the girls to meet on the bridge the day before the murders occurred, and he knows nothing about it?
So even she thinks, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, he could have something to do with those crimes.
How did you hear about the February 25th, 2017 FBI raid?
About it, saying he got raided for marijuana. He also told me they didn't find anything because he stashed it all in the microwave.
Okay, there's the whole microwave story again. Let me go ahead and let you guys in on the truth about that. So Keegan Klein had a handful of burner phones. 2 of those phones were logging in and logging out of the Anthony Shots account that morning. And also during the Dateline interview, did you guys notice that during the Holman portion of the episode, they brought up the ski mask incident as if it's been verified? So once again, they bring up the ski mask incident and they talk about it as a legitimate thing, that it led them to Anthony Shots. And then once it led them to Anthony Shots, it led them to Keegan Klein. So apparently it's a real thing. So now that they find out who Anthony Shots is, who created it, they realize that he's left to Las Vegas. And why do they think that he was in Las Vegas during the murders? Because they went back and retroactively changed the dates on their Facebook to make it appear as though they were in Las Vegas before the 12th. But they, in fact, were not. They left on the 21st and came back on the 25th, or the 20th to the 25th. The moment they get back, the SWAT team kicks in their door, not because of any other case. You know, they're serving a search warrant for the Delphi murders. The reason they're there is specifically because of the Anthony Shots account and the fact that it's connected to the ski mask murder. And now they know that it's connected with the Delphi murders because the Anthony Shots account was probably registered into the Orion system and came up right away. Like, oh shit, we have a connection here. But what's interesting is all the burner phones that he has, he doesn't care about them. The only phone that he's worried about when that door gets kicked in is his own personal iPhone. He takes it and he throws it into the microwave and hopes that nobody sees it. He lucks out. Guess what? Nobody finds it. Well, law enforcement's asking him, where the hell's your personal phone? We know you have an iPhone. Where is it? We're going to charge you with obstruction of justice. He says, oh, I found it. It was right here on top of the microwave the entire time. You know, you guys just overlooked it. Okay, well, give us the phone. He turns it in. And on that phone, the search history was deleted from February 10th all the way to the 15th. So the day that Libby gets her phone reset, factory reset, is the same day there's nothing in between. So now that's interesting about this. And all those other phones have complete histories. So why would he need to do that? Why would he need to hide, conceal that phone, delete this information before he returns it? During the interrogation, they say, so during the time frame where this grooming would have been built up to meeting, it's gone. It's wiped away from your phone. So I thought that was interesting that they brought that back up. Or that his girlfriend, Allie, mentioned it during her interview with the Murder Sheet. He told her they were getting raided because of marijuana. You see, that's how half-truths work with these criminals. They always give you their version of events where they come out looking better. It's just something they do. It's a defense mechanism. Is Allie the girlfriend he lived with? Yes, in that apartment. Okay, here's another quick little video. I wasn't going to show this video, but I figured, hell, I went through the time and effort to make it, so I'll just show it during the live stream. It's kind of speculation about the FBI, why they struggled, and why Carroll County struggled to make a connection between Anthony Shots and Richard Allen. Everything that's kind of strange going on with the case ties back to the FBI. And also there's a weird connection to Keegan Klein, kind of like, for example, the Marathon gas station. We know it's a fact that Keegan Klein was looking up the Marathon gas station in Delphi and on the day of the murders, right? Why was he doing that? Nobody knows. Okay, well, that same gas station, an FBI agent was tasked with going over the security footage. Well, they went in, they picked up the hard drive for the security footage, and while it was in their custody, it became corrupted and deemed useless. It basically was destroyed. So I made a quick video about that. Let's take a look. make you go, We will be discussing the Delphi murders in the strange pattern I see with the FBI's involvement in the case. Number 1, the FBI was part of the search on day 1. Number 2, tip mark cleared after being handed to an FBI employee. Number 3, the Marathon Gas surveillance video hard drive rendered useless while in FBI custody. And we all know that Keegan Klein searched for the Marathon gas station that day. Number 4, FBI allows Keegan Klein to go unsupervised across multiple state lines for years. Number 5, FBI search warrant for Ron Logan has a fabricated timeline showing 1 p.m. as a drop-off time for Abby and Libby. Number 6, 1 year to the day after Keegan Klein was finally arrested, the FBI was kicked off the Delphi case. Number 7, it was because of the above actions, ISP in Carroll County could not make the connection between Anthony Schatz and Richard Allen. A few $1 million later, we know that they tried. Just did a quick little video. And I don't know if I have anything more for you guys, honestly. I think that's it. You guys have anything to add? We miss anything? What's up, Cindy? Good to see you. So let's see. They talked about Odinism, right? But when they brought it up, this is all I heard. Some crickets. Nobody's talking about the Odinism anymore. They talked a little bit about Ron Logan. His ex-girlfriend came forward and said, you know, she always thought that the bridge guy was Ron Logan. But other than that, guys, that's it. Shut down this poll. Did you watch Dateline's Delphi episode? 62% of you said no, so I apologize about that. But it did come out 4 days ago. And if you are part of the replay crew, you know exactly what to do. Drop a comment. We'll get back to you. If you guys need to get a hold of me for whatever reason, shoot me an email, sleuthintuition@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support my channel, you can do so through Cash App, Venmo, Zelle. You can go to sleuthintuition.com and purchase a hoodie. There's no shipping. So, and all of you members, moderators, subscribers, all of you who are already doing those things, big thanks to you guys. I appreciate it. I believe, Jackie, I went to watch it on Peacock. But if you go to some of these websites, you might be able to watch it for free. You might get away with, I think they allow you to watch 1 or 2 episodes on their streaming service before they start asking you for a fee. What's up, Darkside? What's up, Rachel? Kit Kat? All right, guys, you enjoy the rest of your day. We may or may not go live a little bit later for an open panel. We'll see what the schedule has in store for us. But if so, I'll see you guys later.